Top 25 Comic Strip Creator Interview Questions and Answers. Creating comic strips is a unique blend of storytelling, art, humor, and discipline. Whether you're applying for a role at a publishing house, pitching your work to a syndicate, or interviewing for a creative position, being prepared is essential. In this video, we'll walk through the top 25 comic strip creator interview questions and answers. Each question is carefully explained with professional, thoughtful responses to help you confidently showcase your creativity, technical skills, and storytelling mindset. 1. Can you tell us about your journey as a comic strip creator? My journey as a comic strip creator started with a love for drawing and storytelling at a young age. I began by sketching characters in notebooks and gradually experimented with short visual jokes and narratives. Over time, I studied comic timing, panel composition, and character development. I shared my work online to gain feedback and improve. Eventually, I developed a consistent style and voice, which helped me understand my strengths and refine my storytelling approach professionally. 2. What inspires your comic strip ideas? My inspiration often comes from everyday life, human behavior, and simple observations. I find humor and emotion in common situations that people can easily relate to. Sometimes inspiration comes from news, conversations, or even personal struggles. I also draw influence from classic comic strips, animated films, and literature. I keep an idea journal to capture thoughts quickly, because even small moments can turn into strong comic concepts later. 3. How do you develop memorable characters? I start by defining a character's core personality traits, motivations, and flaws. Memorable characters feel real, so I give them relatable strengths and weaknesses. Visually, I keep designs simple yet expressive, allowing emotions to be conveyed clearly. I also think about how characters interact with each other, as relationships often drive humor and storytelling. Over time, consistency helps characters grow naturally while remaining recognizable to readers. 4. How do you approach writing humor in comic strips? Humor in comic strips relies heavily on timing, simplicity, and relatability. I focus on setting up expectations in the first panels and delivering a clear punchline at the end. Visual humor is just as important as dialogue, so I use facial expressions and body language carefully. I also revise jokes multiple times, removing unnecessary words to keep the humor sharp, clean, and accessible to a broad audience. 5. What tools or software do you use to create comic strips? I use a combination of traditional and digital tools depending on the project. Digitally, I work with software like Clip Studio Paint, Adobe Photoshop, or Procreate for drawing and inking. These tools allow flexibility in editing and coloring. I also use graphic tablets for precision. For planning, I rely on notebooks and digital notes to outline ideas before turning them into finished comic strips. 6. How do you maintain consistency in style and tone? Consistency comes from having clear guidelines for my characters, color palette, and storytelling tone. I create reference sheets for characters and environments to avoid visual inconsistencies. Tonally, I stay true to the core theme of the comic, whether it's humor, satire, or emotional storytelling. Regular practice and reviewing older work also help ensure continuity and maintain a recognizable creative identity. 7. How do you handle creative blocks? When facing creative blocks, I step away briefly to reset my mind. I might read other comics, watch films, or go for a walk to spark new ideas. I also revisit my idea journal for unused concepts. Sometimes forcing creativity doesn't work, so I focus on sketching freely without pressure. This relaxed approach often leads to unexpected inspiration and helps overcome mental blocks effectively. 8. How do you plan a comic strip from start to finish? I begin with a simple idea or joke, then outline the narrative flow across panels. Next, I create rough thumbnails to visualize pacing and composition. Once satisfied, I move on to detailed sketches, followed by inking and coloring. I review the strip for clarity and timing before finalizing. This structured process ensures the comic reads smoothly and delivers its message effectively. 9. What role does storytelling play in short comic strips? Storytelling is the backbone of even the shortest comic strips. A strong strip tells a complete story or delivers a clear emotional beat in just a few panels. I focus on clarity, ensuring readers understand the setup, conflict, and resolution instantly. Even humor-based strips benefit from solid storytelling, as it helps create a stronger connection between the characters and the audience. 10. How do you balance visuals and dialogue? I believe visuals should do most of the storytelling, with dialogue supporting the action rather than overpowering it. I aim to keep text minimal and let expressions, gestures, and panel composition convey meaning. If dialogue is necessary, I make it concise and natural. This balance ensures the comic remains visually engaging and easy to read without overwhelming the audience. 11. How do you handle feedback or criticism? I view feedback as an opportunity to grow rather than a setback. Constructive criticism helps me identify areas for improvement that I might overlook. I evaluate feedback objectively and decide what aligns with my creative vision. While not all criticism is applicable, staying open-minded allows me to evolve as an artist and improve the quality of my work over time. 12. What makes a comic strip successful in your opinion? A successful comic strip connects instantly with its audience through relatability, clarity, and emotional impact. Whether it's humor, satire, or storytelling, the message should be easy to understand within seconds. Strong characters, consistent art style, and good timing are essential. Simplicity plays a big role, as overcrowded panels can confuse readers. Most importantly, a successful comic strip leaves a lasting impression, either by making people laugh, think, or feel something meaningful. 13. How do you ensure your comics appeal to a wide audience? I focus on universal themes such as relationships, daily struggles, emotions, and social situations that people from different backgrounds can relate to. I avoid overly complex references that may alienate readers. The language remains simple, and visuals are clear and expressive. I also test content by sharing it with diverse audiences and analyzing their reactions. This feedback helps me adjust tone and storytelling to keep the comic inclusive and accessible. 14. How do you manage deadlines and regular publishing schedules? Managing deadlines requires discipline and planning. I create content calendars and work on multiple strips in advance to avoid last-minute pressure. Breaking the process into stages, idea generation, sketching, inking, and final edits, helps me stay organized. I also set personal deadlines earlier than the actual ones to allow room for revisions. Consistency is crucial in comic creation, so maintaining a steady workflow ensures reliable output without compromising quality. 15. Can you describe your creative workflow? My workflow starts with brainstorming ideas and writing short concepts or punchlines. I then create rough thumbnails to plan panel layout and pacing. After that, I sketch the characters and backgrounds before moving on to inking and coloring. Once the comic is complete, I review it for clarity, timing, and visual balance. This structured yet flexible process allows creativity to flow while maintaining efficiency and consistency. 16. How do you handle creative disagreements or collaboration challenges? I believe open communication is key when handling creative disagreements. I listen carefully to different perspectives and try to understand the reasoning behind them. Compromise is important, but I also ensure the core vision of the comic remains intact. I'm open to experimenting with new ideas if they improve the final outcome. Respecting team members and staying focused on the shared goal helps resolve challenges productively. 17. How important is originality in comic strip creation? Originality is extremely important because it sets a comic apart in a crowded creative space. While inspiration is natural, I strive to add my own voice, perspective, and style to every strip. Original ideas build authenticity and help establish a unique brand identity. Readers are more likely to connect with work that feels fresh and honest. Originality also keeps the creative process exciting and fulfilling. 18. How do you stay updated with current trends in comics? I regularly follow comic artists, platforms, and publishers on social media to stay informed about trends. I also read both classic and modern comic strips to understand evolving styles and themes. Attending workshops, online forums, and creative communities helps me exchange ideas and learn new techniques. While trends are useful, I adapt them carefully to fit my personal style rather than copying them directly. 19. How do you handle sensitive topics in your comics? When dealing with sensitive topics, I approach them with empathy, respect, and careful thought. I research thoroughly and consider how different audiences might interpret the content. My goal is to communicate thoughtfully without offending or trivializing serious issues. Humor, if used, is handled subtly. I also seek feedback before publishing to ensure the message is clear, respectful, and socially responsible. 20. What challenges do comic strip creators face today? One major challenge is standing out in a highly competitive digital space. Consistent content creation can also lead to burnout if not managed properly. Monetization is another hurdle, as many platforms require large followings to generate income. Additionally, maintaining originality while meeting audience expectations can be difficult. Despite these challenges, adaptability and persistence help creators grow and succeed in today's evolving industry. 21. How do you measure the success of your comic strips? Success isn't measured only by likes or shares, but by audience engagement and connection. I pay attention to comments, feedback, and how often readers return for new content. Growth in followers and collaborations also indicate success. Personally, if a comic communicates its message clearly and resonates emotionally, I consider it successful. Long-term consistency and audience loyalty matter more than short-term popularity. 22. How do you handle rejection or lack of response? Rejection is part of the creative journey, and I've learned not to take it personally. Instead, I analyze what didn't work and look for ways to improve. Lack of response can be discouraging, but it motivates me to refine my skills and experiment with new ideas. Persistence and continuous learning help build resilience. Every setback becomes a learning opportunity that strengthens my creative confidence. 23. What advice would you give to aspiring comic strip creators? I would advise aspiring creators to practice consistently and develop their unique voice. Start small, focus on storytelling, and don't wait for perfection before sharing your work. Learn from feedback, but stay true to your creative vision. Study comics, experiment with styles, and build discipline. Most importantly, enjoy the process. Passion and persistence are key factors in long-term success. 24. How do you see the future of comic strips? The future of comic strips looks promising, especially with digital platforms expanding global reach. Social media and web comics allow creators to connect directly with audiences without traditional gatekeepers. Interactive and multimedia formats may also become more popular. While technology evolves, strong storytelling and relatable characters will remain essential. Comic strips will continue adapting while preserving their core creative charm. 25. Why should we choose you as a comic strip creator? I bring a strong combination of creativity, discipline, and storytelling skills. My work reflects originality, consistency, and a deep understanding of audience engagement. I'm adaptable, open to feedback, and committed to continuous improvement. With a clear creative vision and professional workflow, I can deliver high-quality comic strips on schedule. Most importantly, I'm passionate about storytelling and dedicated to creating meaningful, engaging content. And that wraps up our top 25 comic strip creator interview questions and answers. Preparing for interviews like these helps you confidently present your creativity, storytelling skills, and professional mindset. Whether you're an aspiring artist or an experienced creator, strong preparation can make all the difference. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow creators. Thanks for watching, and keep creating.